Okay, so today I want to talk to you about a topic, how to use pending comps when analyzing deals. So, you know, a lot of people look at sold comps. Those are probably the most important comps. This is when you're going to determine, you know, what's my after repair value if I'm flipping a house, or, you know, what's the value of a deal so that I can determine my buy price. So you start out with, you know, what will this property be worth when I'm all done making improvements to it? So then I can back in my numbers and figure out my buy price, right? Typical deal analysis. Well, that analysis process, it's considering not just sold comps, not just active comps, but pending comps. And a lot of people aren't quite sure how to use pending comps. I want to talk about that. Obviously, sold comps are number one because it's actual data, right? It's a property that has sold. We can use that sold price as long as it's comparable to our property that we're analyzing. Then that comp will allow us to, you know, best guess what our property will sell for when we're ready and at that point. Active comps let us know what's on the market, what our competition is. You know, it tells us how much activity is going on. But what about pending? Now, here's the thing about pending comps. When a property is pending, you don't know what it's under contract for, right? That information is not disclosed. And you know, the list price is disclosed, but not the sold price or the price under contract. So one technique that I have, by the way, these pending comps, by the time you buy your property, make improvements, and put it up to resell, more than likely your pending comps at the time are now going to be sold comps, and they're going to be the most relevant sold comps because they're brand new, right? They were pending, now they're sold. So pending comps are huge, very, very important to consider when you're analyzing your deal. So how do you analyze pending comps? Well, here's one technique that I do. I like to call the listing agent on a pending comp. So if I'm analyzing a deal, let's say I've got a couple pending comps, I really want to have a good idea of what that property is going to sell for. So one thing I do is I'll call up the agent, the listing agent, and I'll say, hey, I'm looking at a deal, it's in the same area, I'm doing some analysis on my end right now, and I'm just curious, that property that's pending right now, I know it hasn't closed yet, but, you know, ballpark idea, is it under contract for pretty close to list price, or, you know, like maybe is it 10% below? I just start kind of fishing and asking, and without them having to come right out and say, oh, well, it's under contract for X. You know, they may do that. I've definitely had them do that before. They shouldn't be doing that because as a listing agent, you have a fiduciary, you know, obligation to your client to not reveal that because it hasn't closed yet, right? So you don't want that. You shouldn't want that number out there if you're the listing agent. But sometimes they'll give you a good idea, and you're looking for that fairly consistent idea. The other thing with pending comps that we really want to pay close attention to is the days on market, right? So how long was that property on the market before it went pending, right? So for example, let's say it was on the market, it came out for sale for $150,000, and in 2 days it went pending, right? Only 2 days on the market. Well, there's a fairly high chance that that property is close or at list price because it wasn't on the market very long. Somebody came in and made an offer right away, got it accepted. You know, most sellers aren't going to take a big hit in the first 2 days on the market, right? Now, if it was on the market for, you know, 175 days and it's pending, now you got a different story. It could be quite a bit lower. You know, you really have no idea what happened, where it's at. But that number, again, that number is very, very important. So look at days on market. Definitely call up the listing agent, see if you can talk to somebody, see if they'll give you kind of ballpark ideas. You want those numbers because those are more accurate, because again, when you go to sell your property later, those pending comps are now going to be sold comps, and they're going to be very relevant sold comps because they'll be recent, okay, very recent. So I hope this tip was helpful, and I'll see you next time.